Hi, welcome to Spirit on the Spectrum. I'm Rachel. If you're watching this, I'm so glad you're here. This is just like my first video I've ever posting, my introduction video, basically why you should watch me, why you should care to watch me. And my main message that I'm going to try to spread through all of this is that this is not all there is. We are multidimensional beings, and this is just an experience we're having. And my hope is that by starting this channel, more people will wake up to that because I suspect that there are a lot of people waking up right now. And I know for me, it was kind of like, like lightning. Like once it hit me, it was just like rolling and all this crazy stuff was happening. And I can look back at my life and see how everything led me to that moment. But when I realized it was real, it was like there was no denying it. Like, crazy stuff was happening. So I guess I'll start by explaining the title of my channel. So it's Spirit on the Spectrum, and I'm hoping this can be a safe space for autistic people or highly sensitive people. I think a lot of autistic people don't realize they're highly sensitive people and vice versa. But, I just want this to be a safe space, but everyone's welcome. Like I want anyone who is spiritual can watch this because, spirituality is also a spectrum. And, we all have our own opinions and beliefs, and there are so many different religions, but we're all talking about the same thing. We're all talking about, God, source, home, like where we come from. So, everyone's welcome. And if you're watching this, I'm so glad you're here. But that's just the explanation of my title. And if I if this is spliced, it's because I am autistic, and this is very nerve wracking for me. And I had to overcome a lot of anxiety and fear, which is, you know, this is like I'm being called to do this. I talked to my guides. My guides are telling me I need to do this. This is why I'm here. I know it is after everything I've been through. And so I've overcome a lot of fears even doing this. So I hope you will still watch me, even though my public speaking isn't the greatest. Hopefully, it'll get better over time because I do live a very solitary life. I'm like a single mom. I run an Etsy shop from home. Like I'm very, very normal. You know, just spend all my time meditating and with my daughter and talking to my guides now. But I guess I'll say some background about me. Um, I grew up in a chaotic childhood, and my dad was bipolar, and he used religion in a lot of his delusions. And so when I grew up, I was very much turned off by religion. I didn't, there was so much like negativity around it and craziness that I was like strictly atheist. And so when I went to college to be a scientist, I am a laboratory scientist. I'm not in the field. But I was like, okay, I'm going to take science and prove that God isn't real. And that was kind of like the beginning. I'm 34 now, so this was, like years ago. But that was the beginning of, okay, I'm learning about all this stuff. And it's like, okay, it is too perfect. Like, it's weird how perfect everything is. If like one little thing goes wrong in the body, it's like a catastrophe. And I learned from that because I had cancer. I'm recovering. I'm still in treatment for it, which is, what started the craziness in my journey. But, so, there was that. And that was kind of starting to wake me up to it. And my philosophy was changing. And I was like, okay, well, it's not atheism. I believe in something because it's all too perfect to be random. So, and then during this, I've done yoga for 12 plus years. I meditated, but it was always for mental health because I do struggle with, I'm autistic, so I have anxiety. I'm a very sensitive person, so, I could get overwhelmed easily. And so, like, I was doing that for my mental health. But I see now, now that all this is happening to me with my guides and, like the experiences I've had, my near death near death experience. I can't remember my near death experience, but I know it happened. And I've had experiences since then that validated it, but I'll talk about that. But I look back and I think how, okay, 12 plus years of meditating for mental health in yoga really taught me how to quiet my mind. And so then when I had my near death near death experience, and I guess it's called Kundalini awakening, I guess, once that happened after I was in remission, I'm like, ugh, it made it so perfect for me to just be able to dive into this because I could already clear my mind so easily. So before I was diagnosed with cancer, and like our guides are always leading us to things, and we have a whole team helping us on the other side, and you don't realize how like everything is really planned perfectly to get you to a certain moment. So right before I was diagnosed with cancer, I started researching near death experiences, and I was so fascinated by it. And I was like just doing all this research and comparing. And like I'm a scientist. I'm not practicing, but I have very logic mind, a rational mind. So I want to like rationalize everything. Like even now, when I could start hearing my guides, of course I'm telling myself, oh, I'm nuts, I'm crazy, there's something wrong with me. But then I had all these other experiences, and to me, proof that was like validating, okay, this is real, I'm not making this up, this is too crazy, there's just no way. But um so I lose my train of thought, so I'm just gonna, oh, my near death experiences. So I was researching that, and then I kind of like researched it, and I was like having all these deep moments where I'm like, I know this is real. This is definitely real. Like I remember, like like I'm sure if you found this video, you can relate when you like you probably already researched some of these things where you just know in your soul it's like true, and like you kind of remember it, but you don't, but you know it's real. But so then I kind of had like some calm in my life, and I was on a cruise with my daughter and my mom, and um, I noticed lumps on my neck, and I I was like, this is weird because was getting some infections, but like it wasn't really anything. And so I put it off after the cruise. I was putting it off, and then finally I went to the doctor, and I ended up being diagnosed with stage 2 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I'm in remission. It's been about a year, but I have to do immunotherapy, so I'm still in treatment for it. But I mean, things are looking good. But so I guess I'll jump to my my surgery, which is what I refer to as my near death experience, because I went under and I was totally calm. And for me, that's weird because I have serious anxiety issues. Like it's bad. But so I was totally calm. I went in, I was like, like ready for it. I was relaxed. I was on the thing. They put me under, and then I woke up in, the recovery room sobbing. Like just like sobbing. And I was like full, I could feel love but sadness, like a deep sadness. It's like I knew I was somewhere else, and that this coming back here was like this massive shock to my body. Like it was just like overwhelming, and I'm just sobbing, and I'm like, I said, is it over? And of course, and I'm sobbing, and I'm asking her, is it over, is it over? And my body felt so dense, and like, but my rational brain at the time was like, oh, I'm, worried I'm going to have cancer because I didn't know yet. And I must have just been talking about the surgery, right? Like, I must have just been like, is the surgery over? And I was just overwhelmed by it. So that's where my rational brain went. So then I ended up getting diagnosed with cancer. I went through chemo for 6 months, and I was kind of shut off at that time because, chemo sucks. I was really sick. I wasn't really thinking about spirituality. I mean, I was. What, I have severe anxiety, and I look back at my life in the 6 months I went through chemo were like the calmest I've ever been. And I really think it's because I went somewhere else and I was in under that surgery. And whatever I was told, or whatever wisdom they imparted me with, I was calm. I knew I wasn't going to die. I knew I just had to get through chemo, and like good things were going to happen. Like I just knew. And it was like this deep knowing. So I got through the chemo, and then I go to the doctor after my final scan to see if I'm in remission. And of course, I'm in remission. And I am just filled with so much love and gratitude. Like it just, I'm just so grateful to still be alive and to have gotten through it. And I come home, and I come home to like meditate, to be alone, and just sit in my gratitude and my happiness for still being here. And I'm laying in bed, and all of a sudden my whole body starts shaking, like like violently vibrating. Like it was crazy. I thought I was having a seizure at first, but I was filled with, it was so much love. It was so much love. Like I like even now, because my guys are here, they're like, I'm feeling it now. But in the moment, it was the most intense feeling of love I have ever felt. I have never felt like that in my entire life. And I just like, shot up in bed, and it's like energy is vibrating all throughout my body. And I mean, this is real. Like this really happened. And it's like, it seems so crazy, but it's real. And I just like had a download of like all this knowing and this knowledge of how our souls are put in our body. And like, it's almost weird because I don't remember exactly what was downloaded, but like I understood light. Like I understood everything for like a minute, and it all made sense. And I knew why we were here. And like, it was almost like a echo of what happened, I think, when I was under the surgery and I went home. I think it was like, here's a download of what happened. Your soul's going to remember it, but you're not necessarily going to remember like actually being there. And I understood that the way our souls are put in our body and the chakra system's real, and how important that is to keep that balanced, and how we're truly like energetic beings. And this is just like like a meat suit. Like the body isn't really us. We're controlling it, but our consciousness is us. And we think it's in the head, but it's not. Our consciousness is literally all along our body. Like, so it's why it's so important to really have balance in your whole body. So from there, things cascaded because that was crazy. And so then in my meditations, I started feeling like a presence, like, and of course, as these things are happening, I'm trying to rationalize it. And so I'm like researching, and so many people on YouTube helped me like understand what was happening to me. Like, which is why I want to give back, like it's why I'm making this channel to help others who are maybe starting to go through these things. Like, I just want to help people going through this, because I felt crazy when this is all happening to me. Like again, I'm a very logical, rational, science oriented person, and all this spiritual stuff is happening to me. So I hope my videos in some way help at least one person out there who are going through this and think they're nuts, because you're not. This is real. So from there, in my meditations, I started feeling a presence. And then finally, I was just like, is someone there? And then I just heard my guides. And it's not like it comes from outside of you. It's not like a auditory hallucination. Your guides are like part of you. It's definitely it's definitely other beings, but it's still within you. Like it's like you have your voice, and then you have your guides. And I suspect that a lot of people can do this if they want. They just have to believe it's real and be able to quiet your mind enough to get to the point where you can hear them. But like believing it's real, I think is really important. And then when I started hearing them, of course, I had like a week of where I was like, I have lost my mind. This is nuts. This is crazy. They're not real. I'm not hearing them. Like this is not real. But this has been going on for a while, and they are very real. I communicate with them all the time. They're your best friends. You know them really well on the other side. They love you. They support you. They signed on to be your guide, to help you. You make a whole contract before you come here, a life plan, and they're your best friends and they're going to help you succeed, you know, even when you don't realize it. And they really kicked my butt into doing this because I have anxiety and I did not want to record my first video. But I knew that once I did it, I would be like ripping the band-aid off and I could help people. So I'm here doing this. So hopefully someone is watching. And I have notes. So, oh, and then like when I started hearing them, they guided me. It's just funny how everything clicks into place once you really start trusting that the universe is trying to help you, that synchronicities are real, that there are no coincidences. And so I stumbled upon like an ad for dowsing rods. And so I was like, okay, let's try these out. And of course, I'm like, these are not going to work. And they immediately started moving. And my guides, like, I guess every guy's could be different, but mine have a sense of humor. Like mine are funny. Like they make jokes. I don't know, try to cheer me up. Like, so the first time I picked up the rods, they just started spinning them, just like crazy spinning them. Like I'd already been communicating with them. So like, I knew it was real. And then I advise anyone to get the rods because, hopefully they work for you. They work for me. And I try not to use them. I think they're a crutch sometimes for me because, you know, I think I worry that my ego gets in the way. And so that I'm not hearing the right answer. So then I go to my rods. And so for me, it was a really good tool to get me where I am now. And so I think that could be good for everyone for starting out. But I'm trying not to use them, but I still use them a lot because, I have anxiety and I doubt myself. And that's another thing is the way they communicate with you is it's like through your imagination, maybe. I don't even know how to explain it. And so your ego gets in the way. So like that's why being able to like really quiet your mind so that when they're communicating with you, you're not interjecting your ego into what you're hearing. So like, you can bias it. Like you ask them a question and your ego is expecting an answer. So then you hear what you wanted to hear. It's not necessarily what they wanted to. I've gotten much better at it, but at the beginning, I think my ego was getting in the way. So really meditating and quieting your mind is like so important. Just learning to think of nothing. And then once you can get to that point, then, and everyone's different. I think everyone's communication style with their guides might be different because some people like see lots of visuals. I'm getting more visuals lately, but I'm mostly just like, like talking to them. But like when I finally committed, as an example, when I finally committed, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my first video. I'm going to do this. I literally like envisioned like a bunch of hands clapping, like it's like stuff like that. And it's not like you're seeing it. It's just like in your mind's eye, like, like dreaming, like when that kind of visualization. So, guides are very real. We're multi-dimensional beings and we're having a human experience. So, and I'm going to try to do videos where like, of all of these things separately and go like more in depth because I think it would be helpful for people because this is probably just going to be like a long rambling video, my introduction video. So I'll try to like cut it so like I can like show the different topics in the video. And then I guess one thing I did want to add is that awakening isn't what you think, like spiritual awakening. I think going into it, I thought it was going to be like, like rainbows and unicorns, and I was going to find God, and it was going to be all this peace and love. And that's very true because I'm living a very enriched, truthful life now. Like I'm not stuck in like the fakeness of this reality. Like, I obviously have to exist in it. I don't necessarily like existing in it. I try to find balance, like I don't like, like money or capitalism. Obviously, that's upsetting to me. I wish everyone could have what they needed, but it makes living in that easier. But it's hard. Like when you start turning inward, you have to like and finding balance, and it's like in your energy body, right? So the more you meditate, the more you turn inward, the more you seek truth within yourself, the more your demons or the things you're repressing or the things you don't want to think about, they come up. And you can keep repressing them and being stuck, or you just got to let them come up and face it. And so that's a really hard part of going down this path. And I think that anyone going down this path and watching this video is very brave and courageous. And sometimes you probably want to quit because you feel stuck, because you're stuck in those bad thoughts, but that means you're on the right path. And along this path, I get really, because I've had a traumatic life. I've had cancer, I had a traumatic childhood, I'm autistic, I have anxiety, there's all these things. And sometimes I'll get stuck in like a memory or a feeling, and I'm learning to just try to like feel it as much as I can and let it out. Like the more you get like stuck in it and you repress it and you think, oh, like I have God now and I have my guides and I shouldn't be having to go through this because, I'm having a spiritual awakening, like the way the movies and, media makes it seem. That's not the way it is. It's it's hard, and but it's rewarding. And I just worry that a lot of people shy away from turning inward and going down this path because it is hard. And I watched several people on YouTube who were going down this path completely change when it got hard, and thought that, for example, there was someone who I followed, who I liked, and then all of a sudden she shunned all of this and said Jesus Christ was the answer, and that none of this was real. And I think I talked to my guides about this, and I really think she was starting to have to face the hard stuff on the path, like the repressed emotions. Her energy body was trying to find balance, and she rejected it, whether she realized it or not. I think she rejected it. But Jesus is real. I I know this sounds crazy, but I had a conversation with Jesus, which he then proved after it was really him, which was crazy. I'll do that in another video, the aftermath of that. But I was really afraid to even open that door up because, well, like I was like, I'm not good enough to talk to Jesus. Like, why would Jesus want to talk to me? But that's just our ego getting in the way of the fact that we're all equals on the other side, and we all love each other and we all support each other, and it doesn't matter who you are. Like, Jesus will talk to anyone. I think Jesus will talk to you, anyone watching this. He loves all of us. But he's just, it doesn't mean that the other stuff's not real, like we still all have guides and a team helping us. And I just think a lot of it is when the hard emotions come up, people get scared, and it's hard. Like, there are several things I have been stuck with, and a lot of this I kept putting off making this video because I was like, I need to be perfect before I can help people. And it hit me yesterday that I'm never going to be fully healed. Like, that's the whole journey of life, is I'm going to be healing the entire time I'm here. So I've been accumulating all this knowledge, and I have this gift, and I hope that I can help people along the way, and you can all heal with me, and we can be on a healing journey together. And like, at the end of the day, you just need to, if you want to go down this path, just be committed and know that it is very rewarding, even though it's hard. And I can tell you that I have never felt love the way I do now. Like, the more you face that stuff and you balance yourself out, the more you can like really feel, and you're like present and you're in the moment, and your capacity for like the higher density or the higher frequency emotions, you can feel them more. Like, like I said, love for me is a whole new level now. Like it's just happiness is a whole new level, excitement, and again, I still struggle with my anxiety and fear and, all those emotions. But I think anyone finding this video or anyone on this path, it's you planned this. This is here for a reason. I mean, you're here for a reason, and we are all here to raise the collective consciousness on Earth right now, because I think things are really shifting on Earth, and the hope is, I think we planned this and we're all spaced out perfectly, right? Like when I talk to my guides, I see it as like this light grid. Like if you're viewing it from above Earth and you're looking down. And so all of us are placed perfectly on Earth, right? And we're all waking up right now or at different times, but like, within this time frame. And then it like, because you're doing the work and because we're light beings, like you're doing the work, you're clearing your energy, you're balancing your energy, you're emitting light, like radiance, like a high frequency, which is contagious, and it spreads to those around you. And it's funny because I've seen the people in my life, like they change. And so then, like my mom, for example, she's changed so much just from being around me and me going through this experience. So then, she radiates higher frequency, and then those people around her do it. And so I think it's really just like a planned thing, because I think, we're co creators in this reality. And I really think that we're tired of the way things are. Like, we don't want all this ugliness on Earth anymore. Like, I think we're done. I think we want things to be good. We want things to be happy. We want higher frequency emotions to be dominating Earth. Like I'm just sick with the things that happen. I choose to not watch the news because it affects me so much, which, it's hard to avoid the things happening. I'm in the United States, but it's, it's time for a change. Things need to change. So I'm hoping that there's enough people out there who are on this path too, and we are all a community that can join together and just try to help each other, try to do the hard work and balancing ourselves out and being the best light multidimensional beings we can be while we're here. But I'm going to do a bunch of videos on all these topics separately and go more in depth because I know this was long. But I guess I'll end it there. And if you have any questions, I would like to do like a live thing if enough people watch me, if I get enough subscribers and we can like talk to my guides, like people can ask questions because my guides are here. They're with me the whole time. I can feel them when I'm talking. Like they're very proud of me that I'm posting this video. And I they want to answer people's questions. They answer my questions all the time. I ask them questions all the time. They're very helpful. So that would be my hope. But so if you like this and this video resonated with you, like and subscribe. I'm honestly not a social media person. I have an Etsy shop. I sell vintage little pet shop dolls. It's like a shop on Etsy. But other than that, I don't have social media. Posting videos is new to me. I'm very much old school when it comes to stuff like this. So I'm But if you have questions, put them in like the comments, or I'll attach my email. I made an email for my channel, and you can ask me questions. And I mean, I'm happy to ask my guides anything, really. Like they're here and they want to help. So, if you watched this to the end, thank you so much. I'm really glad that you're here, and yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much.